Right, guys, welcome back. This is Above Average FPL, with a little bit of a twist this time around as we look towards World Cup fever, World Cup fantasy. And how are you, Baker? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah?
Good. I'm excited. I was just saying, right, I know so little about international teams.
Excellent. Well, there's little things that I've been doing that, help. Making a few notes has helped, but doing things like playing like So Rare and Football Index and all that sort of thing in the past has, helps a little bit. Plus paying attention to who like all the young wonder kids are coming through and smashing the other leagues up is a good way to sort of know what's going on.
So you're the expert in this?
No, we brought an expert in. So
who's that?
For anyone listening who can't see, we've got Andy, FPL mode. He has come and joined us this evening. How are you, Andy?
I'm very good, mate. Thank you very much for having me again.
Good. Fourth time. Who's counting?
Yeah, fourth time, but who's counting? Who's
Exactly.
counting?
We owe you a hat trick.
Yeah, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for my hat trick ball. It'll come eventually.
Yeah, eventually. So, have you signed up to the game yet?
Yes. Yeah. Literally did it today, actually, in preparation for this. I've been doing a lot of research and kind of bit of homework to get myself ready, but I didn't want to sign up to it too early because obviously FPL is still on, and I feel like sometimes you can sign up to it too early when the squads aren't even announced. So yeah, I did it today just to get a feel for the game, but that's it.
Yeah, cool. I don't know how many squads in total have been announced. Obviously, we had England today. I saw that Belgium was yesterday. I think it was Holland tomorrow. And there's a few others around. I don't. Obviously, Brazil's been announced and stuff. So, yeah, still a few to come, and a few that we will completely ignore anyway. As even when I was like writing my notes, I was like, Iran, no, Saudi, no. Although, interesting fact about Saudi is that they have 13. I looked at SofaScore. 13 players in their squad are from the same club.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
So Al Hilal.
Al Hilal, yeah, fourth in the league. They're not even the best team in the fucking country.
Just as you boys are saying this, I suddenly no rush to sign up. It sort of dawns on me all the stupid stuff we do in FPL. Like, I've got to get the login ID and like, what's my team number and how am I going to put that in on live FPL? And it's like, God, this is so lovely that I'm immediately drawn in a little bit. That I'm like, that stress is gone. Like,
it might still be a differentiator. You never know, but you don't really care. So
nah, that's nice, isn't it?
Well, if you see, I mean, you might not
log in, do what you like.
You might not have seen, but the prize, which is the weirdest prize ever, the prize for this is 2 tickets to the World Cup final. So you actually win the game before the game's actually finished.
Hold on. This doesn't go all the way to the final.
Yes, it does. But it's just drawn. You just draw. It's not. You don't win. You just get drawn out of a hat, I think. But you get 2 tickets to the World Cup final.
Just by entering it, you can go to the World Cup final.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's worth signing up. Just sign up and
just sign up. There's 2 tickets for the World Cup final. They're like World Cup final tickets. You have to pay to get there. You have to pay for your accommodation. There's none of this all expenses paid bollocks.
You don't get anything for
nothing. Absolutely nothing.
What are we doing, boys?
No idea. What a complete waste of time.
We're just doing it. We flog the tickets on eBay and we're done.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that. So I just want to read that thing, to be honest. I'm just trying to find it now. Very, very quickly.
Prizes. Register your squad before the deadline for a chance to win 2 Category 1 tickets for the World Cup final. Scheduled to be held in Lusail, Qatar for 18th December.
I'll read it. The winner shall be eligible to receive 2 physical paper Category 1 tickets for their use and their guests. There is 1 prize available. That's it. Note that this prize does not include flights or accommodation. All costs and expenses not explicitly stated above, which is basically just the ticket, as compromising part of the price, should be the winner's sole responsibility. An example of such excluded costs and expenses include visa charges, hotel incidentals, insurance, taxes, travel to and from any stadium or airport, spending money, and meals.
It's actually worse than a stress ball.
It should also,
I was just about to say that.
It should also be your responsibility to obtain a hire card, which is what you need to get into Qatar as well. So yeah, amazing. What a prize. You can't even get there to do it.
So if you win, you're going to be quite down on your money.
Well, you shouldn't spend more than the ticket. Yeah. Well, at least you get a ticket. I mean, it could be worse.
I mean, if England are in it, though.
Nah.
You still can't get there.
No, it's true.
I can't afford to get there. Can I get
Oh.
advance on the? Oh, God, I don't know.
Imagine
Well, sold.
if I'm first going into the final, I might just throw it. I might just like make loads of transfers.
No,
I
but you
can't
can't-
afford to win this game.
No, but you can't, it's drawn. You don't even if you.
It doesn't
win-
even matter if you're rubbish.
Oh.
You just- right, cool.
Oh.
Hello to everyone in the YouTube chat. There's 23 of you. Hope you're having a good evening. Colm, Mike, Ben, FPL Dan, and Andy Martin's in the chat. So good evening to all of you.
And-
What we're going to do is we're just basically going to run through the groups and have a chat about the countries. I don't want to call them teams, but they are countries, and talk about any players. So anyone we'd be keeping an eye on, both I guess from a football perspective, and then you can overlay some fantasy stuff in there, Andy, as you've actually looked and you sort of know the differences between this and fan team and whatever else is going on.
Yeah.
We've got some Opta prediction data. We've also got the ticker, courtesy of Fantasy Football Scout. So Andy has kindly provided that to us, so we will share that with you. I'm sure he'll be sharing it many times in the next few weeks. And then a bit about the fantasy game itself, besides the absolutely amazing but useless prize that is on offer. So Motley Barnett says, "Make it good, please. I'm missing I'm a Celeb." Well, yeah, I mean, if you want to watch Matt Hancock eat kangaroo bollocks, then go for it. I mean, I'm not going to stop you.
I'll see you later.
Talk about Motley Barnett's, by the way, absolute legend in terms of international football. If you need anything in terms of knowing squads, knowing teams, knowing form, he's on it. He's absolutely brilliant.
I've just told him to piss off and watch I'm a Celeb.
No, don't.
Stay.
He's
need
probably
you.
be on it, not
Stay.
me.
We need you. We need you.
Cool.
Yeah.
So,
I know nothing. So people have got to teach me the rules.
well, no, we're just going to talk about the countries first, mate. So,
Oh, I don't win.
Group A. Group A, Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, Netherlands.
Boom.
What are we saying about Group A? Do you want to kick us off, Andy?
I mean, most people are expecting the Netherlands, I think, to obviously run away with this group a little bit. I think it's hard because Qatar are the hosts, and usually the hosts do better than a lot of people expect them to do. And with it being slightly controversial with them being the hosts as well, I think they're going to be heavily backed by their supporters, and they're going to have a lot of home fans in their stadiums, I would have thought. So I think Qatar, I think they're going to be harder to beat than people think, and they've got one or two okay players as well. So we'll talk about those in a bit. Netherlands, I think, aren't the team that people... They've struggled since that kind of golden generation have all retired, haven't they? You know, Van Persie and Robben and players like that. But they're starting to come through a little bit now. And they've got some... They do. And obviously you've got him in the thumbnail there of Depay. He's kind of struggling for fitness a little bit going into it. But...
I didn't realise that until after I'd put him in there.
That's what I mean. Who else are you going to put in?
Well,
nice.
to be fair, I put Cody Gakpo in there. To be fair,
Yeah.
Given he's the man right now. And do you know who the top? Well, apart from him, do you know who leads the line for the Netherlands? Baker.
Wout.
Yeah, well, there's Wout. Yeah,
Wout.
there's Wout,
Yeah.
and there's Mr. Bergevine.
Oh yeah, Stevie.
Stevie scored 7 goals and 3 assists in 13 appearances so far this season. 2 in 6 in the Champions League and 2 in 6 in the Nations League. So he's not doing too badly since he left.
There's Bergwijn and Berghuis, isn't there, as well? Are they both
Yes.
played for Netherlands?
Yes. Yeah. Berghuis, Ajax.
I'm never sure which one gets in or not.
I mean,
Well, they're playing different
Bergwijn's in my
positions.
team.
Yeah.
Bergwijn's in my team.
Okay.
I think he's great shout for this one.
Hmm.
I do love Gakpo as well. I think Gakpo's a great shout. He's in unbelievable form this season for club. So I think if he plays just behind that striker, he's a lovely shout.
21 returns in 13 games.
Yeah.
Aren't these all dull teams though? Like the home teams normally dull to lose. Ecuador, I'm pretty sure Ecuador is quite dull, and
Well,
Senegal
Ecuador is basically
That's pretty
Brighton, right?
just dull teams.
Well,
Yeah. I mean, Ecuador aren't the best. I think Qatar is quite dull. Senegal's fun. Senegal would have been a really lovely team, but obviously Mane's now out, which is horrendous for them, you know, and horrendous for him as well, because it's literally the game before he was about to go. So that's horrible. But then you've still got Ismail Assar, who's having a great season for Watford. Could be on pens now for them as well. So he's not a bad shout. Thing is with dull teams, if they're all in one group, and obviously it's only the top 2 that go through, sometimes that means we get quite fun games. And Netherlands aren't exactly the powerhouse that they were. So this could end up. It could look like a dull group, but it could end up being quite a fun group by the end of the match day, like 3. So we'll see what happens with this group.
What about Denzel? Good old Denzel from the Euros.
Dumfries.
Yeah.
He's going to be starting. Yeah.
He's fun.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Is he still fun, or is it just a one cup?
No, he still will be. He's at Inter at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah.
I had him for a
There's no
12-pointer.
reason why he shouldn't be good.
12-pointer Champions League as captain, 24. Cheers.
Denzel's going in.
Depay's definitely a way to go if he's fit to start that first game.
Yeah.
And obviously, if he's not, then you just bring him in maybe game week 2 or game week 3. But I don't think he's a bad shout at all.
But we think that Netherlands ultimately comfortably go through. Yeah. Who do we think grabs that second spot then?
I would have said Senegal,
Yeah.
but I'm worried now that Mane's out because he is such a talisman for them. So because I'm going to be backing the hosts, I think Qatar go through second.
Wow.
Boom.
Wow.
Yeah, I think so. In terms of Qatar, by the way, they don't have a lot of players, but Afif is the one that could do something for them. So Afif, he's 4.5 million and he's a forward. So if you do fancy Qatar to go through in this group, I think they could be okay.
You haven't sold that.
Group
to me.
A.
You haven't sold that.
No,
to me.
I know.
No.
But 4.5 million, not bad, is it?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah, I mean, well, Ecuador obviously got it's Brighton, isn't it? Caicedo and Estupinan
Those guys.
in there. And they got a guy, who's he playing for? Fenerbahce, Enner Valencia. It's a talisman.
Yeah. Used to be West Ham, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Scoring a lot at the moment, though. So.
Yeah.
And they got that dude. I just saw the name Sarmiento came up, and he's also at Brighton. Got an assist in the week against Arsenal. I don't know whether he starts. I have no idea whether he starts. I just wrote it down, so I thought it might make me sound like I knew what I was talking about.
Works for me, mate.
Group
Next
B.
group.
Group B.
Oof.
It's coming home.
Here they are.
I've said it.
What do you think, Baker? What do you think about Group B? England?
Do I have to put Kane in my team? I have to put Kane in my team. Do we have to put Kane in our teams?
It's up to you. Looks shattered at the moment, doesn't he?
He does.
He's got a week off.
It's been the longest break for a while he's had.
Yeah.
Since the death of the Queen, when he got a week off as well. But yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think then?
I think we topped the group. I mean, the stupidest thing is there's 2 teams that haven't in their last 5 competitive games that haven't won a game. England is one of those teams, or one of those countries. And for a group being this fun, Wales is the other. So, and on your, I was going to say on your Qatar shout, like they're one of 2 teams that have won their last 5 competitive games as well. Incredible.
Yeah.
I think this group.
I think this is a tough group, perfectly honest. I think, whenever we play against Wales, that's tough because it's a home nation. And I think Gareth Bale, I still think Bale is a great shout in this game because he always does well for him. And he literally just gears up for big tournaments now, doesn't he? So I still think Bale's a great shout. I think USA are an interesting team. They've got some okay players. Obviously, they've got Aronson, who everybody absolutely loves for Leeds so far this season, but they've got some okay players. If Pulisic is fit, he'll be really good for them as well. They've got Weston McKenna, they've got Sergino Deste, they've got Tyler Adams. They got quite a few good players in there, but I still fancy England to obviously come out quite well. And obviously England have the nice first fixture against Iran, and you've got to think about the order of fixtures in this game as well. So I think that first fixture against Iran, I mean, I've only got 1 England player in my team at the moment.
Trippier?
And it's Trippier. I
5
think it's
million.
close between him and Shaw.
That looks quite cheap.
Is he 5? I thought it was 5.5. It could be 5.
Dead. 5 dead.
Is it 5? Is it same as Shaw, isn't it? Yeah. So I just find it tough to pick English players. Probably because I'm English, but we're not great at attacking and we haven't been great defensively. So who are you boys picking if you are going to pick an English person?
Kane.
just Kane.
Yeah.
Just Kane. I mean, yeah, I think is probably going to be I just think, as you said, because we're not great defensively, Pickford just seems like too expensive. for what you're going to get. You know, I saw that. I mean, who do you think's going to come second in this group? Because like Wales aren't fantastic by any stretch. USA, their last game they played, they drew with Saudi Arabia, and they had a good team out. I mean, they had all their guys out. Like Pulisic played, Adams played, Weston McKennie played, Dest, DeAndre Yedlin, remember him, Baker?
I do. And, it's quick.
He's quick. And Gio Reyna as well over at Dortmund. He played. I mean, they played all these guys. Who else is there? Oh, Anthony Robinson as well. He's there. So I mean, and they drew 0-0. It was a bit of a nothing game. And 24-year-old Cameron Carter-Vickers as well. Baker. Not sure if he's in the squad, but
CCV.
As if he's still only 24 years old. Mental.
Kane is a lot of money, isn't he? You just feel like Kane will score 2 goals in the 3 games in individual games, and you probably won't captain him. And it's like,
and is that enough to go with him instead of Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe, who are all forwards in this game? That's the thing. You're picking him over those players.
Because that's the initial thing looking for me, is that straight away I was like, I want all the forwards and I don't want any of the rest. So being really particular about... So is everyone going to play 3 forwards, do you think, in this game?
I'd be surprised if they didn't, yeah.
I mean, I think
unless they go with a thief.
Yeah. I think the quality of the other countries just would make it more difficult. I mean, Kane's not too far behind these guys domestically. I mean, he's not miles behind them. If you look at Mbappe, 11 goals, 2 assists. Kane's on 11 goals, 1 assist. Messi's 7 goals, 12 assists.
It's the method, though, isn't it? It's the same thing as something.
They're all just better.
But it's the explosiveness. You don't ever feel that as much. You feel like you'd get points every game. But
yeah,
the good thing about being able to flip about on captaincy on this one is that you want those explosive players.
Yeah, I guess it's the teams that they're playing in the groups as well. So if we're going to get to it, but Argentina have got like Saudi, Mexico, Poland. England have got Iran, USA, Wales. I'd feel more. I mean, losing or being crap attacking wise aside, ordinarily I'd fancy us to do better. France, Australia, Denmark, Tunisia, Brazil have got Serbia, Switzerland, Cameroon. I mean, they don't sound like the easiest. They're obviously easy for Brazil, but
remember as well, England always play early in the match weeks, which means you can captain Kane in the early, and if he doesn't do anything, you can move off him to go to one of the other players.
But he's going to score 1 in every game, and you'll be like,
either he blanks, and you're like, well, that's easy. I can just move off him to go on someone else, or he scores 1 goal, gets you 7 points, whatever it is. And then you've got to take that risk. But I think you always would, wouldn't you, unless he gets a brace? So
yeah,
it's not an awful move. I just find it hard to pick him over some of the, Brazilians, Argentinians, and French players. What about Bellingham, by the way? Nicely priced. I think it's 6.5. Is he in this?
7.5. I think I just saw
7.5. So the prices are different in Fanteam, which I'm all over as well. So 7.5.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel uncomfortable with that position generally for England because we're going to play with 3. I'd assume we play with 3, right? In there, will we play with 2? No, I suppose we play with 2.
Well, it would definitely be Rice and Bellingham.
Be Rice and Bellingham, but then it would be Kane with 1 either side. Be Foden, Saka type thing.
I think if Saka's playing and he's 8 million, just that 500,000 more, I'd want Saka. I think.
I don't think I would. The way he was used last time. It was more of that workhorse on the left, wasn't he? As opposed to what he is for Arsenal, if that makes sense. I don't really know who I'd want for England, to be perfectly honest, apart from those wing backs.
There is a point. There is a point here that the Wyvern 1881 has mentioned in chat, is that obviously the point scoring system is slightly different here, and you do get additional points for. What is it for midfielders? Is it passes or is it
tackles? Isn't it
tackles or something? Hold on, I will find it.
Oh, God.
Should know that. This is just like FPL. We don't know what we're talking about. Every 3 tackles is a point, and every 2 key passes is a point. on top of the normal 5 for a goal and 1 for a clean sheet. So
Yeah.
I'd like to think that England keep a couple of clean sheets here, though.
I'm just looking at it thinking maybe the Shaw and Trippier double up might be the fun.
Potentially.
I think that's the way you would go. I mean, looking at the group, problem is though, like I don't see us keeping a clean sheet against Wales, but Iran and USA we could, I guess. But I mean, we're playing 3 at the back with the wing backs, and then Rice and Bellingham. You'd expect some kind of clean sheet in these 3 games, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well, we're only done Group B. That's why I've just plugged 2 in. So they'll start coming out as we start moving forward. Where are we at next?
Group C. So moving on to Group C, it's Messi.
Yeah.
Who's like
Argentina, in it.
Better than he's ever been, almost. Well, not quite, but still unbelievable.
Do we have to have Messi? And Messi's in, is he?
I think so. I think this is going to be his tournament.
I do as well.
Yeah, this is most likely going to be his last one. I was talking to Motley Barnett earlier. Again, big shout out to him. And he was saying that Qatar are more excited about him coming to Qatar than about the World Cup coming to Qatar. Me. Like, and is it going to be that inconceivable to think that, oh, look, Messi gets 6 penalties in the group stages, like just to see him score?
Mate, I genuinely, he came to Malaysia, and Barcelona came to Malaysia, and they didn't bring him on, and like the crowd just went absolutely nuts. They were not happy. It was absolutely insane. And it was to the point that I tell you what they won't do here, because obviously all the games would be sold out. But what happened there was that Barcelona were attacking this side of the pitch, and all the crowd was sitting this side. At half time, the entire crowd moved to the other side of the pitch so they could watch when Messi came on, to watch him attack.
Yeah,
insane.
Yeah, he's so good. I mean, I just see this being his tournament, really. And this group stage, like Mexico, Poland, Saudi Arabia, you can see him getting 3, 4, 5 goals in the group stages, I think.
How do we get more then? Because if everyone's going to get Messi, because everyone will have Messi, like it's one of those where you feel like you need another one.
This is where it's annoying that Messi's a forward, because the other player you can get is Lautaro Martinez. But obviously that's doubling up on the strikers, which is annoying, because I feel like you want the coverage of other teams with those strikers. So if he was a midfielder, I feel like Lautaro Martinez would be quite heavily owned. But I feel like because he's a forward, he's not going to be. You can go for it. You can go for that double Argentina attack. I don't think that's awful at all. It's who else you go for, because I feel like I feel like you can own a defender. I feel like you've got players like Tagliafico, who's quite good, who's attacking left back, and I feel like he's somebody you could own. But the midfield is a little bit of a minefield. Like, you've got Di Maria, but he's older and he might get a bit managed towards later on. And apart from that, you're struggling a little bit, because it is the defenders you're looking at then. So, yeah, Messi and Lautaro Martinez, if you really fancy them to score a lot of goals, and you don't fancy having someone like Mbappe, Neymar, Kane.
There's a few there that if it wasn't Messi, like a bunch of them would be on set pieces if they played as well. That's the really frustrating thing, because Messi will take all the set pieces. So
and Dybala would be pretty much nailed.
All of it, like Dybala takes set pieces. I'm pretty sure Rodrigo de Paul takes set pieces for Atletico.
Or Di Maria would take them.
Di Maria would obviously take.
Di Maria probably takes corners for them, I imagine.
Yeah.
I got a feeling a few people would be seeing, because of Haaland not playing at the moment and Alvarez playing, they might be starting to pick him because he's 6.5 million in the game. But I mean, he might play match day 3 if they're resting a lot of players and they've won their first 2 games, but he's not going to be starting.
Yeah.
Doesn't our old boy Gio Lo Celso, doesn't he normally play?
Bosses it for him. He loves it, doesn't he?
He was always so much better for them than he was for us, but. I'm just looking through their last few games, and it's like it changes every game. Their midfield,
yeah,
that's a pretty hard pick.
So who else comes out of the group then?
Poland for me.
You think no Jimenez for Mexico is a problem? Is he fit?
Yeah, I think so. He is going, isn't he? He's been named.
Is he? Okay.
But I think Poland. I think they're going to have too many match winners. I say too many, some
Lewandowski,
match winners
basically.
in their team. Yeah, I mean Lewandowski's always struggled in major tournaments because he's not got that firepower beyond that supply behind him. But I just feel like Poland will probably edge out Saudi Arabia in their game and Mexico as well. Mexico are a bit of a weird team. They're really, especially without Jimenez there as well. I feel like it will be Poland that probably come through, but Argentina are just going to steamroll this. So I can imagine this being 9 points for Argentina, and then the other lot are struggling for, well, maybe 6 points, but maybe 4 points will get through on second.
Yeah, cool.
They look pretty dull. I just look at Poland's results in terms of goals, and they're getting a bit older as well. A lot of their players, aren't they? Zielinski, I always like. Good player.
Yeah, he's another one though. He doesn't tend to do it for Poland. He tends to do it for club. But for Poland, he plays a bit of a different role, so he struggles for attacking returns. But I do like it. He's 6.5, I think, isn't he? So he's a nice price.
Cool. Let's move on. Group D.
Oh. Talk to us about France, Baker. Go on.
You want to have the fun. I know Benzema gets the Ballon d'Or, but you want Mbappe, don't you? It's fun.
I think so.
It's fun.
It's a ridiculously good group for him as well.
Yeah.
Like Denmark, I think Denmark they're always dark horses, aren't they? But I mean, Tunisia and Australia are such lovely fixtures.
They're whipping boys, those two. Don't buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well said, Andy. That's the end of my notes, boys. So it's all on you now, Andy, for the rest of this.
Could you
Great.
Could you Mbappe and Benzema?
Well, it's just so we all want all those strikers. Like we could easily have 5 or 6 strikers and be quite happy with it. I think there's something to be said for going in Benzema over Mbappe because he is 0.5 less, I think.
He's 0.5 less. Goals.
And he just wants to score goals. And Mbappe didn't have the best of times in the Euros with them. And Benzema was better. I think there is something to go for it. The only thing is Mbappe is like everybody's going to pick him first, pretty much. Like he's just going to be first in everybody's team, and he could absolutely destroy this group. So yeah, I think Mbappe's probably the way I would go personally. In terms of the rest of the team, like obviously Benzema's there, and Kunku's had a great season, but he isn't nailed in this team yet, I wouldn't say. Griezmann will probably play just behind the strikers. He was on pens in the Euros. I'm assuming he's still on pens in the World Cup.
No idea, but I'd imagine so. I'd imagine that'll carry forward.
Yeah.
So Griezmann's like playing the number 10 for them, isn't he?
Yeah, basically. And then it's what you do with the other positions, really. I don't think midfield you can really touch, but defensively you've got the 2 wing backs. So you've got Hernandez, who's pretty incredible going forward at left back, and then Pavard at right back. So I think there's lovely options everywhere. They're just really expensive in this game, so you've got to use it well. I mentioned before the stream as well, they've lost Pogba and they've lost Kante, which shouldn't be underestimated what a massive impact that's going to have on this team. It's literally their engine who helped them win the World Cup last time, and it's their talismanic player that plays so well because he's got so many brilliant players around him in Pogba, and that's the difference with Pogba for France that he was for United. So they're big misses for them. So it's going to be interesting, but then they've still got the quality, and they've got 2 absolute whipping boys in their group. So someone's mentioned it as well in the chat. I think it was Andy Martin? No, Wyvern saying Denmark are a very good team, and they can beat France as well. So don't put it past Denmark.
They recently just beat France 2-0, haven't they?
Yeah.
So they beat them twice in the Nations League, I think.
You can't rule out Denmark at all, I don't think. They're almost losing that dark horses tag and almost just being horses now. they're just like people know what to expect from them. Obviously, they got Eriksen, they got Højbjerg, who I was talking to Baker about before this, saying he plays differently for Denmark. Like he's not that complete defensive midfielder in the Euros. He got like 2 goals, 2 assists in the group, so he's a great player. Damsgaard's good. They've got
been all right as well this season, I think.
Yeah, and they've got absolute hero 4.5 million defender that should be in everybody's team, Mæhle.
Oh yeah, loved him from. It was literally where I was at him from last time. He was
I don't know
God,
how
yeah.
he's 4.5 again. I was absolutely shocked he was 4.5 again. He was
Philip
amazing
Billings,
last time.
Danish. Look at
Yeah,
this.
he is.
Philip Billings, Danish.
Did you
Why
know-
didn't
He
I
is,
know that?
yeah. He is indeed. Yeah, so Mailer's the pick here for me as well. Like, I think Mailer and Ericsson are nice. And I think it's Dolberg, isn't it, who's their striker, but he's not. I don't think he's in the game. Or not yet, anyway.
He's not in the
But
game.
yeah, so Ericsson and Mailer for me, lovely picks.
Okay.
Ericsson. You go Ericsson just because you're going to take everything.
It's a talent. Yeah, he takes everything. The only problem is he's 8 mil, which is probably 0.5 more than I would have wanted. So it's hard to pick him over some other players. But I think with this group, I can't remember when they play France. It's not in match day 1, is it? It's whether it's in match day 2 or 3.
2.
Can't remember when they play him. Is it 2?
Yeah.
So it's a bit tougher picking them. But it's the same with French players. I think that's going to be a tough game, that match day 2. Does mean that those players are going to be alive in match day 3 potentially, because if they draw that game, they're going to have to win that last game potentially. So that's
I
quite nice.
love that. Yeah, that's why triple France feels good, and then a Danish one in there as well, just for
Yeah, love a
keeping
Danish.
keeping everyone interested.
You always want a Danish on the side, don't you? Just a nice little
Exactly.
keeps you going.
A great one.
Group E: Costa Rica,
Oof.
Germany, Japan, and Spain.
Form
Form
Sorry,
team.
boys. By the way, I keep just going straight in. Just
Just
Go for it,
me,
mate.
Tell me
This
what
is
you
why
want
you're
to.
here, mate. This is why you're here.
So, I think this is a really, really tough group to call because Germany
Germany and
not,
Spain don't have great strikers. That's why.
That's exactly it, and they remind me so much of like Chelsea or Man United, somewhere like that, where they could look quite good, or some of their midfielders are lovely, but they just don't have that striker at the moment. And gone are the days when they had what was his name up top, scored all the goals for Germany. Closer.
Yeah.
Gone are the days where they've just got that focal point, and the same with with Spain with David Villa. So they're kind of in transition stages at the moment, but they've got some beautiful players playing for them that are going to really, people are going to want to have in their teams. But I fancy Japan as well. I like Japan, and I feel like this could be that group. Because weren't Germany and Spain in the same group? No, it wasn't Germany and Spain. It was Germany and France, wasn't it, in the Euros, and Hungary went through. And I feel like this is going to be that same thing. I feel like Japan could nick second place, or even take first. You never know. They've got players like Minamino. They've got Tomiyasu. I feel like they could go through. Yeah, and they did well qualifying. I think one of Germany or Spain are going to really disappoint this tournament, and I think it might be Germany.
Who's in goal for Germany?
Neuer.
Neuer.
Yeah, still.
Couldn't see him in the game. Not in the game yet.
He might not be in the game yet. Yeah,
No,
like I said, it's not
getting
complete
excited there. They got Leno and Trapp, are the only two keepers they've got in the game, both 4.5 million. I was like, a 4.5 million keeper for Germany sounds fantastic.
Haven't Bayern been playing? Bayern have been playing. I can't remember his name, but Neuer hasn't been playing because he's been injured, is he not?
Right.
Is that right? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I want to check.
To be fair, it's one of the ones I'm not too sure about. I know he is their first choice keeper.
Yeah.
Whether he's fit, I'm assuming he'll be fit. For me, if you're looking at Germany and you're looking at their players and thinking, who do I want? I really want to have. I really think Musiala's going to have his breakthrough tournament. This tournament, he's been absolutely amazing for Bayern.
Is he back?
Is he back? Yeah, he played at the weekend, didn't he?
I didn't. I
Yeah,
know.
got a goal and assist.
He got injured. He got injured a few weeks ago, didn't he? In Champions League.
He's hopefully. I mean, he's not 100% nailed, but he should be. But playing behind the strikers, he's 8 million. I think that's lovely. I think he's that kind of exciting player you can pick in your team. Yeah, all over him. Sane's obviously still a nice pick. Gnabry's in and out. He's not 100% nailed. Musiala, like I said, I love. Gundogan, yeah, not too bad. Havertz is going to be playing that false 9, but again, I think he could go in and out because they got that Moukoko for Dortmund, who's incredible as well. So I think they're going to be swapping him in and out with Havertz. I think if Havertz blanks in that first game, I think he's going to struggle to retain that place, to be perfectly honest. So, yeah, it's going to be tough, this Germany team, to call it. They got Rudiger at the back. They got Keru, plays right back, and their left back is not Goossens anymore. I can't remember who's playing left back for him now. They got Kimmich in the middle, but not so much a fantasy pick. So, yeah, the Germany side's a bit tough. What do you guys think? Because I've been talking for a while.
I think for all those reasons you said, that they could struggle. You do feel like they need that focal point striker to. You always think of Germany as like this machine, essentially, this machine that comes out, and I just feel that the players that they've got, or at least with like Havertz playing as a false nine, there doesn't really feel like there's that real punch from them that you'd want and you'd expect from a sort of use the word recycled, but Germany and Italy and Netherlands and all these countries that do it intelligently. They obviously recycle their squads quite well, and then they come up and they win something, and then they disappear for a couple of tournaments and do it again. So they won. Is 2006 the last time they won the World Cup? Am I making that?
Make it out like that's a long time, mate. Like it's not that long.
No, but what I'm saying
years.
is, it's 16 years. So it's 4 World Cups. So we're talking about a team.
It's no low either as a manager. Like they haven't been in one way or another. They haven't been without Joachim Low at a World Cup or major tournament for a long time.
I don't even
know. And it's the assistant manager that's taken over, isn't it? So he's still got. He's better, and he's helped them improve based on all the things that people didn't like about Lowe at the very end. But I just feel like this is a tournament too early for them, and they just don't have that striker. Yeah. Moukoko could turn into that striker. Like, he could turn into that focal point for him. But I think this is probably a tournament too early, unless someone really grasps at it. But it's going to be Havertz to start with, and he's not. We've seen it for Chelsea. He's not that striker that's going to win you a World Cup. And with this group with Japan being strong and Spain potentially being strong as well, I think it's going to be a really close group. Spain, we haven't spoken about, by the way. They've got some fun players in there. They've got Ferran Torres, who I think is probably the best player to pick from their team. Obviously doing well for Barcelona as well. In the Champions League, he did quite well recently as well. But apart from that stuff, they've still got Morata up top, who again isn't that striker that's going to win you the World Cup. They're a really heavy possession-based team, which means they could keep some clean sheets. But in this group, I think that's going to be tough. So, yeah, it's a tough ask. Obviously, they've got the Costa Rica fixture first, which is quite nice. So they could be a nice one to go with for match day 1. But
Germany with them in match day 3, though, I was just looking at the fixtures there. That's the one you like. I'm like, if you were looking at players around that value, and then you were like, well, I know Musiala plays by game week 3, and I think they're going to still need to do something in that last game. I don't see him getting 6 points out of Japan and Spain. I feel like a German punt or 2 in match day 3 is the way. Other than that, I think I'd leave that group well alone.
Also with Spain, people might be thinking, they're playing Costa Rica, I'll go for a defender. Their defence is a nightmare. They do rotate all the time. They've got positions for right back, left back, centre back. All across the pack, you don't have a clue who's going to be playing because literally they swap it around all the time. And the only probably position you can go with that you're guaranteed is going to play is goalkeeper, which is Simon. He will be playing. His 5.5 million. So if you really want a defensive player for Spain, you go with their keeper because the defenders are going to let you down, unfortunately.
Fair enough. Well, cool. Right.
That's him done.
Group F.
Oof. Here we go. I like this group.
Belgium, Canada, Croatia, Morocco.
Yeah. So we were talking before the stream, weren't we, about Belgium and saying that they're 5th favourites, you say, Baker?
Yeah.
Yeah. 5th favourites, but you can't underestimate that they're probably going to do quite well in a group. It's just as soon as they go up against a team that's equally as good as them or better than them, they're going to struggle, aren't they? So De Bruyne, I mean, yeah, you boys probably know the Belgian team quite well. Who do you fancy?
It's De Bruyne's no-brainer. I'm just looking at so little midfielders. Like, just feels to me like that's just a lot.
But you're spending. I mean, if you go massive on the front line, if you're saying 11.5 on Mbappe, going 11 million on Kane, maybe, or 10.5 on Neymar, and then you spend another 8, 9, 10 million. That's 30 million on your first 3, and then you're going, right, I need 11 million on Kevin De Bruyne. You're going to run into the same problems that you're going to have as you do in FPL. You just can't fit all the premiums in. That said, Tielemans does start for them, didn't he?
Yeah.
So, for someone, if they, you just feel like someone's gonna bang. It could be him. I mean, to be honest, actually, I would pick Batshuayi if I wanted to go for a Belgian forward. I'd pick Batshuayi only because Lukaku is just recently back from injury. I think has hardly played any football. Batshuayi's played up top for them. Last few games, he scored goals for them as well. It's a good group for them. It's a relatively good group for them, I think. I mean, obviously the
like first game, Canada,
yeah,
Morocco. You just got to get some Belgians in.
Yeah, do you know the big one, don't you, for Belgium? If Hazard is definitely not playing or is injured or whatever, Trossard, 5.5 million, he'll play.
Get him in.
And he's in great form.
Yeah.
5.5 million, I think, is lovely. I think KDB's hard to ignore because he's just going to be given free roam in that attacking midfield spot. They're going to play Witsel probably. They've got Tielemans. They've got all those nice players that are going to do the job behind. And then he's just going to have free reign. And if they've got a striker that's not, if they are with Batshuayi, like we've seen what he can do. He just grabs the game by the neck, doesn't he? And says, right, fine, I'll do it all. I can just
see him get into a position where he's looking for Batshuayi and can't find him, and then turns around and goes, Yuri, there you are, and just passes it to him into the box.
I do find it hard to not go with De Bruyne. Only as well because there's not that many premium midfielders you can go with in this game. Because a lot of them are classified as strikers. So I feel like De Bruyne is probably one of the only ones. So I think people will probably pick those strikers and then find they've got a bit of money left. And it's probably going to be De Bruyne they want to try and get to in midfield. But I do think Trossard at 5.5, if we're under any illusions that Hazard's not going to be starting, I think 5.5 is ridiculous value for Trossard.
They've got loads of players who could play wing back. That looks like a problem.
Yeah.
You got like Carrasco, Meunier, the other Hazard, Trossard could do it.
Yeah. I mean, Meunier's pretty much nailed on the right. It's the left that's the problem. Like you said, a lot of those players you just say, it's all on the left. But I think Trossard will be given that left wing role, which is what makes him quite exciting. But like you said, there is that issue. But a lot of their midfielders now are quite defensive. Dendoncker could come in. That Onana that plays for Everton, he could go in there as well. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I think it's De Bruyne or bust in this one. Meunier is someone that's people loved him again in the Euros for fantasy, but he's 6 million. So he's tough when you've got like Mailer at 4.5. So, yeah. Oh, Castagne's the other one, isn't it? Castagne's the one that's probably going to start. Thank you, Wyvern. Is it Wyvern? No, Barnett's in the chat. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it will be Castagne playing left back, most probably.
Moving on. Canada.
What about, hold on, Croatia? You give us a little tip on Croatia.
Yeah. Bargain of the game. 3.5 million defender starting at left back for him, Sosa. He'll be in every team by the end because everybody will catch on. But yeah, 3.5 million, which helps you afford someone like De Bruyne in the middle. But he's just perfect. When he's playing against Morocco or Canada, you can stick him straight in or put him in if one of your other players doesn't perform. I like Croatia. They're an aging team, but they've finally started putting a bit of youth in. Obviously, Luka Modric is still there, 8.5 million. Perisic is going to have that left wing role. Probably going to be playing. I mean, is it going to be Kramaric up front?
Yeah, probably.
It's not great, is it?
It's not great. It's okay.
No, but like I said, Sosa 3.5 million. They've also got Gvardiol that's 4 million as well. So there's some real bargains here. I think it'd probably just be those defenders I touched though.
You touch defenders.
Oh yeah, always. Yeah.
Move on.
Moving on. So nothing from Canada or Morocco, just because of the group.
Canada aren't a bad team, by the way. Alphonso Davies.
Well, yeah,
he's going to have that left wing role as well.
Him on the image.
Yeah. Canada aren't a bad team. They really aren't, and they've got a manager that's really forward thinking and really is getting the best out of this team. They are really not a bad team. I think it's going to be between them and Croatia for that second spot, and it could be that Canada actually nick it. Jonathan David and
Junior
the other strikers. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Good old Junior.
Larin, that's his name, the other striker. They're really not a bad team. Canada and Japan are two of my favourite kind of dark horse teams this for the World Cup.
Davis feels quite fun.
Fair enough. And not touching Morocco. Although they haven't got some bad. They've got some decent players in there, haven't they? If you think like Romain Saiss and Hakimi, obviously.
Yeah, Ziyech.
Ziyech, yeah.
And Ilias Chair from QPR.
And I've seen, I think he plays down in Spain, Youssef Nesri as well. I mean, he plays all the time as well. So
yeah, he'll be their striker. Yeah.
Cool. So
Give me Brazil. Give me Brazil. Come on.
Here we go.
There we go. Go on, and Baker. Do you want to talk about Brazil?
I don't. The problem is there's so many strikers at Brazil. Like
they're all strikers.
They're all strikers, and it's like who actually is going to play? like when they named their squad and it came out, and I was like, oh, Charleston's there, yeah, and he's been leading the line for them. And then you're like, oh yeah, but Jesus has been playing well, but also I want Vinicius and Neymar and they're forwards in this game, but they're not really number 9s.
And then Rafinha's a forward.
And then Rafinha's a forward in this. So then I was quite excited about it. And then I see the game and I'm like, oh, I don't know how I would get any of these actually in the team. And then I'm like really confused as to how what I would do with any of it.
Yeah. They're a really tough team to work out who you want to own. I mean, Neymar is going to be playing. And he's obviously the talisman for them and gets a ridiculous amount of goals as well and assists. Vinicius Jr. has obviously had an incredible season with Real Madrid as well. Rafinha's been great.
He's great for Barca as well. Sorry, not Barca. He's great for Barca, but he's great for Brazil as well, Rafinha.
Yeah.
But so is Richarlison when he plays.
Yeah, and I've got Richarlison in my team. 7.5 million.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's leading the line for this team,
it's all just feed. Imagine just being fed by Paqueta and Guimaraes and then Neymar running around in circles and Rafinha, and then, we just cross it in and there's Richarlison.
Yeah, I'll be honest though. Apart from Neymar and Richarlison, I'm finding it really hard to know who to pick from this team.
Well, do you think we'll get anything that sort of suggests on the defenders? Because like Tellez looks like he's playing quite a bit, and he's 4.5, and that's like ridiculous because he'll then take corners as well and do all those type of things, and you're like, well,
I don't know whether he will.
He would.
For Rafinha and Neymar.
He's still better. He still took him off everybody at United whenever he did him, and wherever
United
he played.
Shit. Brazil aren't shit.
He still take him. I'll get up. We'll do a sportsman's bet after this. That if Alex Tellez starts, he takes the first corner for Brazil.
I like that. I'll take that bet.
Easy all day long. But if you get him, but if you get the left back,
any other player, and
any other player
is just Tellez.
Alex Tellez, if he starts, he'll take the first corner.
Brilliant.
From the left side. From the left side.
Oh, okay, I'll give you that.
But then you've got Alexandro, so you've got two options there, and then you look at the right backs, and you've got Danilo. Eder Militao can play out there, can't he, and do all that stuff. But it doesn't look like those are quite cheap because it's almost like they've got to price Brazilian defenders cheap because no one wants to look at the Brazilian defenders.
Yeah.
So
Charleston at 7.5 though. He's cheap if he's playing.
Would you be looking at Alisson here?
I don't think you would. I feel like you don't pick Alisson like you don't pick Alisson in FPL or Edison in FPL. Like, it's just boring, isn't it? Like, imagine if Brazil hit the ground red and they got a settled team and you've got Alisson. Like, it just feels really boring. I'm genuinely finding it hard to know who to pick. Motley's just mentioned Paqueta as well in midfield. He's quite a good shout. Obviously, West Ham player. He's not bad. I just think I just find that there's other players I want to own instead of this Brazil team, which is really weird because a lot of us are expecting Brazil to win. It's weird. It's hard to trust their players. They've got so many of them.
Right. Who else comes out of the group? We've got Cameroon, Serbia, Switzerland.
Finland.
I think this is a really tough one. I think this is probably the hardest one to say who's going to finish second in the group. Switzerland did okay in the Euros. They've obviously still got Shaqiri there. Shaq is having an incredible season for Arsenal, isn't he? And obviously he's there doing bits. Apart from that, there's not an awful lot there. They got Akanji the Man City defender as well. So they could be okay shouts. Cameroon.
Choupo-Moting.
I don't. Have they got anybody in the game yet, Cameroon? I don't
No,
think they do. Do
two
they?
keepers, but
It's
they'll,
incredible.
they'll have Choupo-Moting, won't they? And they'll have Bumo, almost certainly.
Yeah.
I'd imagine.
Mate, we're not getting any of these.
No, I mean Serbia have some interesting players. Milinkovic-Savic, who
Yeah, it's class.
is class, and Dusan Vlahovic as well. So they've got some good players. They've got Dusan Tadic as well.
Yeah.
Obviously Mitrovic
Obviously
is
Mitrovic.
definitely not going to be in the first game. That came out today, didn't it? He's definitely not playing in the first game.
Yeah.
So they do have some
Jovic as
okay
well.
players. Luka Jovic as
Philip
well.
Kostic as well. Jesus Christ. Yeah, they have got some good players.
Oh, if
So-
Kostic was like a defender and you could have him as a wing back, or whatever, then that would be good. But
Yeah, because he'll take all the set pieces, won't he? Kostic.
are we going to have a set piece off between Alex Telles and Philip Kostic?
So in my head, I think Serbia might edge second in this group.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
Fair enough. Cool. And moving to the last group. I really would have wanted to put Son on here, but I've tried to keep everyone out of the Premier League on here. Did I do that successfully? I can't remember. Group A was Depay, Bellingham, Messi, Mbappe, Kimmich, Alphonso Davies, Neymar, and Kim Min-jae.
Nice.
So I managed to keep all the Premier League players out. So I did well
Fair
there.
play.
And
You
I
did.
definitely didn't want to put Ronaldo on it. So
Yeah.
or Darwin.
Yeah. What do you think about this group then, boys?
That looks a lottery group.
Just no idea.
You wouldn't want any defenders from that group, I reckon. I don't think I'd want any defenders from
No.
that group. Like it's like
Yeah.
Portugal,
When do
Cancelo.
when do Portugal and Uruguay play each other?
Good point. Good question.
That is middle.
Second game.
Second, yeah.
Oh, second game.
Yeah.
We'd be back in Portugal and Uruguay to get out of this group, though, wouldn't we?
Yeah, probably.
Like when you look at these on the ticket, basically, the only good game for everybody is Ghana. That's basically the only thing that anyone's marking this on this one.
Yeah.
Uruguay against Korea first game, you're like, I don't really know what could happen there. Portugal against Ghana, but then straight into straight to Uruguay, straight into Korea.
I mean, Ghana have no
Rank.
players apart from.
They got that. Is it
Daniel
Abubakar?
Daniel Amati.
Yeah.
Oh, Marty.
So they've got
Inakai Williams.
They've got the Ayew brothers. They've got. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but
They got Inakai Williams,
Whatever.
who's a good striker. And they've got
Mohamed
it's
Kudus.
Abubakar that plays for them, isn't it? Or is he not in the game yet?
Well, I'm looking at SofaScore, so
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
don't know.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect Ghana to do much in this group. But I think I like Uruguay. I like Portugal. Son's completely fit to play, isn't he? He's going to be playing.
He's declared himself fit to
Yeah.
play.
He has, yeah.
Masked up.
Portugal, I think, are really tough because you've got Ronaldo. He's 10 million, but I haven't seen him in anybody's team. You've got Bruno Fernandes, who doesn't play well when Ronaldo plays there. Bernardo Silva's not a bad shout. He's 9 million, though, in a tough group. And apart from that, like you said, Cancelo,
Yeah.
it's not, nothing's really screaming out at me there, to be perfectly honest.
No.
Yeah.
But you still think they'll
But
get. You still think they'll get out of the group.
It's a leave the group
Yeah.
alone, mate. That's a definitely leave the group alone. Unless there's some.
Yeah.
Is there anything that's really good value that you go, yeah, you can get involved in that?
What for this group?
Yeah.
I love Valverde for Uruguay. Yeah, 8.5 million. I know that seems expensive, but he's in my team. I quite like him to have something in this group. Nunes, Suarez is 7.5. It's quite fun.
It'll be his last. How old is he now? It'll be his last one, wouldn't it?
He's playing for a club as well, isn't he? Playing for a club.
Yeah.
He's got no club. Come into this.
And the other one, I mean, I absolutely love the keeper. It's Muslera for Uruguay as well. I love Muslera. I don't know why. I've had him in, I think, the last World Cup game I played, I had Muslera, and he was great because Uruguay kept 3 clean sheets in the group last time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, yeah, for some reason I do quite like them, but I think Uruguay could be okay. Just because Portugal are, don't know, just don't fancy Portugal in this tournament.
Yeah, lottery. It is a lottery group, this one. So
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been talking about the fixtures. They are. So this is the, I don't know who put it together, but is this your specific FDR, Andy, or is this one that someone?
No, it's someone from Scout. I don't know who did it, to be fair.
Okay, we'll just credit Scout then for it.
Yeah.
Why not? So
look
yeah,
at it though. You look at it again: Holland, England, Argentina, Brazil.
But again, I still like the France having that what's considered a difficult middle fixture. So that third game is there because. Don't get me wrong, Denmark's going to be a tough fixture, but would it surprise you if France won that 2-0, 3-0?
But you always end up with an easy move because, like, whenever you bank players to have in the third match, everyone's always got those players anyway because you just move somebody that's won their first two games and is just going to move on. So, like Kevin De Bruyne, for example, you can just move him to any midfielder for that last game if you need to.
True.
Brazil, you're going to have a striker. You're probably going to move somebody on. That's the kind of balance you need to work out, isn't it? Is you need to be able to move people off for that last game. Like Argentina are going to be through.
Yeah,
because that's the game. Is that we can basically wild card after that third game. Is that right?
Yeah,
we have to wild card.
Have to, yeah.
Have to wild card. So there's no need to keep on to anybody at all.
There's something fun. There's something fun for you as well. I mean, I think you get 2 transfers a week, 2 transfers a match day, and hits are only 3 points. They're not 4.
Oh, it's easy. And can you roll any transfers?
You can roll 1 transfer.
So you could just make 1 for match day 2, and then you roll in. Well, that's the dream, isn't it?
You make 4 You make 4 transfers and take a 3-point hit. And attack it.
And obviously you've got to remember about the boosts as well. So you get
oh god.
And obviously the boosts are going to be best played in match day 1 or 2 because match day 3 could be an absolute lottery with rotation and stuff. So the first boost is 12th man, where you get one of your bench players that their points count.
I've got slides for this, Andy. Jesus.
Oh, sorry.
Tell us the boost. Tell us the boosts.
I've got to remember which one it is now. Which one?
So boosts are chips. Boosts are chips. Yeah, boosts are chips.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. So you got wildcard, so you can make unlimited transfers. You got 12th man, where your 12th man, you can pick a 12th man and their points count. And then you got power captain, which is whoever gets you the most points that week is your captain, which is pretty massive as well, obviously. But it's so different playing fantasy in World Cups and Euros and things like that, because you have to think about rotation in match day 3, which is always horrendous. And it's never the teams you expect either. People will always say, it's always easier to use boosts or easier to use these things in the knockout stages. And it never is. One, because everybody's teams slowly get the same, because you can have more players from one team as the tournament goes on. And play teams, especially when you get to semi-final and final, everybody's got the same team. So you need to make sure you've got a difference in the group stages and you get ahead quickly. And yeah, it's just, and obviously everybody's going to be wildcard as well. And also in the after the group stages, teams get knocked out you're not expecting to. France and Spain got knocked out really early in the Euros last year, and I had 6 players from those, and then trying to claw your way back is impossible. So it's a really different way of playing in the World Cup and Euros, but it's good fun. It's because it's different to FPL, which is great.
So do you think most people wildcard will do the round of 16 and then, unless they get really, is it better to the round of 16, just thinking tactically, that you go all in on certain teams with the caveat that you could potentially wildcard in quarterfinal anyway?
I think I would build my team for match day 1 and 2.
Yep.
Wildcard in match day 3.
Ooh.
Because you basically get a free hit for match day 3. Then you get a wildcard and you get a new team for the next round, after group stages. And then you've just got to try and predict after that.
That's not what you said before we came on. That's not what you said before we came on. I'm sure you.
That's because I said that to you privately, boys.
This is
I think that's a lot of people did that in the Euros.
So what I said about rolling transfer, been that just get on it.
I think so. Yeah, all these kind of games it's all about going ahead early and getting those points early on because it's so hard to claw them back. So I think that's the way to play it. The only thing is, if you get like France and Spain got knocked out last time, the people that had a wild card had a little bit more of an advantage then, but then they needed that to happen to get the advantage. But I think a lot of people will be wildcarding after match day 2 because they'll see the rotation and be just scared into doing it as well. But if you know that that's what you're going to do, just attack match day 1 and 2, and I think that's the way to play it.
So on that basis, looking at the ticker, you just cut out match day 3 and you just go
pretty much.
What's in
because you don't know what the rotation is going to be like. I'm trying to think what it was in the Euros, but I think it's Netherlands were definitely through, and they played a completely different team, and they played a striker. I can't remember who it was now, but he scored 2 goals, got on a goal and assist, but nobody would have ever had him in their team otherwise. So it just means you can change everything around. Like
if the Netherlands was that Marlon, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Marlon played. That's right. And nobody would have had him in their team beforehand. So yeah, that's definitely the way I would do it. Personally, I don't know what the deadlines are like in this. Actually, when do you get locked in?
Well, it's a that's a good question. Actually, I don't know whether it
only for the first game. I mean, it's going to be
obviously it's going to be rolling, but it's obviously rolling deadlines, isn't it? Because you can change things. Does it actually say when? I'm trying to see if it actually says when the first deadline. It doesn't actually give you a time.
It must tell you.
It must be kickoff. Must be kickoff.
Yeah. If it's kickoff, then that's big because obviously we'll find out because match day 3, the group games all kick off at the same time. So you'll find out all the squads.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true.
Ooh.
So match day 3, the dates are the 29th of November. Now, I don't know how that sits with...
It says as soon as their team plays in the current match day.
Right. So we'll know 4 teams worth of players going into that last match day with your wild card.
Perfect.
It's quite nice.
Obviously,
that's only like 10% of the game, whatever. But yeah, 15%.
So
do we need to rely? So we don't need to rely on leaks. Don't need to rely on servers. We could do.
Should be fine.
I'm not sure Team News and Ticks is going to have like a dialed in from Qatar. You never know. You never know.
12th man and power captain. You'd use those as well? Game week 1. Match day 1, match day 2, just go at it.
I think so because it's when you get the biggest results as well. And obviously the results get tougher later on, don't they? Like to call when you've got harder games. Power captain's the big one.
Power captain could be fun in 3, to be honest. I feel like power captain could be fun in 3 because it's very difficult to then.
You use your wild card potentially, don't you?
Can you not?
If you didn't use your wild card, you mean?
Oh no, of course, because they're too. You can't use.
Yeah. So even that in itself, because of power captain meaning you'll get the highest player as such, almost says to me like if you can like triple premium or even like whatever you can do on it, then pick those high upside players.
Look, my gut feeling is you use it game week 1.
Yeah, because
that's the time when teams aren't quite ready or they get shell shocked, and you're bound to have somebody massive in your team that goes big. Like if we've all got Mbappe, De Bruyne, Neymar, whoever it is, I think you use power captain then and just know that you're going to have somebody that does really well.
Agreed.
But it's also not as powerful as you potentially think it is because you can change captains in this game. So because you can change captains every day, it's not like in FPL where you only get the one chance to pick them. A lot of people might be on a good captain anyway. So, but you're going to have to use it some week. So I think it's probably better in the first week and then maybe 12th man in the second week. But yeah, I think these boosts are going to be harder to use later on down the line.
Yeah. So the important thing on captain then is that you can obviously what's your strategy on captain? Are you captaining him from the first big game early in the match day and then i.e. from either Netherlands or England and then going on from there?
Yeah.
Because
100%.
Because then you can change your captain if they don't go, but you could change your captain to a Group C captain, but provided that they don't play or provided they haven't played yet, you could still change it to a Group D captain. That's what I understand from the rule. Until the game starts, and as soon as that game starts, you're locked in.
Not so much group to group; it's match day to match day because you'll have for sometimes you have like 4 games playing on a game or whatever it is. So it's based on the match days. So if you can only swap to the next match day. So if like Group E and F play on the same day, you can only go to one of those.
Yeah, but it says you can change your captain an unlimited amount of times as long as the new selected captain is yet to play in the current match day. So
when they did it in the Euros, it was based on you had to pick your
one per day,
captain by the
But so as soon as your captain, it's not a case that you can pick your captain in the first game and then change it to the second game and he's shit, change it to the third. You can't do that. But no, you can't do this one. You can't do it in this one because once your captain has played in the match day, you're able to change your captain once more for a player that's yet to play. So you can't have Kane and then have Havertz and then have Neymar, for example.
No.
If you have Kane and then go, I'll pick Havertz, and before Havertz kicks off, you go, shit, no, I don't want him, and you can change to Neymar. I think that's how I
do
read
it once. Yeah, that is right. That is what it says.
But it says
if you can change it an unlimited amount of times as long as the new selected captain is yet to play. So yeah, I can keep mucking it around, but once the dice has been rolled, say for example, I start it on Kane and he's played. So once your captain has played in the match day, you're able to change your captain once more for another player who's yet to play. If you choose to change your previous captain, you'll lose double the points. The new captain will score double instead. So you only get to change it once.
So I'm confused. What? So you said unlimited times?
Hold on.
But you can change it, keep mucking it around.
I don't know
like you can in FPL. Like in FPL, you can change it an unlimited amount of times before the deadline, is what it's saying. You can just keep mucking around as long as I haven't played. So, for example, I could start it with somebody I could have it on Kane. Then the team leak comes out or the proper teams come out and Kane's not playing. I can move it because he hasn't played yet. Yeah. And I can keep moving it. But as soon as somebody actually plays a game with it, it's saying I can only move it once.
Okay. I might need to clarify that because that's completely different to how it was
in the Euro game. You could move it every day, couldn't you? You could have a Sunday captain, Monday captain, Tuesday captain, Wednesday captain.
You can't do that. I mean, it says it. I've put it up on screen now. Once your captain has played in the match day, you're able to change your captain once more for another player who is yet to play. Now, what I don't know is whether that means that you could change it to Havertz, and then before he plays, you go, oh shit, that's wrong, I should move it to Neymar. Or whether once you pick Havertz, that's it, you're locked. I don't know. That feels like a point that needs to be clarified. But it's definitely not a captain a day. You definitely can't do that. You can only change it once.
I don't think it's I think it's that you can move it. So I think it's that you can only move it once a day, but you can move it an unlimited amount of time. So as soon as that player has then played in your team, you can't move it again after that one time, if that makes sense. Maybe. I don't know. We need to clarify that, definitely. Just thinking, by the way, on that power captain, I'm wondering whether it's better to use power captain later on. I'm just thinking that now, because if you've got semi-finals and it's only 4 teams, and you're literally just looking at those 4 teams, and it could be an absolute lottery who gets the highest points, I think it could be quite fun to use it later on, actually. Because I think it's going to be easier to get a captaincy haul in those first couple of games. We've got so many opportunities to change it. Because I'm just thinking, like, if I was using it and Baker wasn't, I think you're going to luck into getting a captain return because you get to change it 4 times anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, but that's how it used to be. I'm just wondering whether it'd be better to use it later on.
I think it depends. I think it depends on this rule. Like how I'm reading it, how Adam's reading it, is that you can only change it once.
Yeah,
that's mad.
If you can only change it once, power captain's then
bigger
monster.
Maybe that's why they've changed it, because of power captain.
Yeah,
because like I'm saying, it doesn't make any sense to have power captain if you can change it constantly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So if you want to come and join us playing Fantasy League, World Cup Fantasy, we've got a mini league. It's G6ZBHD1V. I think that's a 1. Come and join our mini league. There may be 1 team from us. There may be 2 teams from us. I don't know.
Oh, we're 2 teams in the league now, mate. It's in there.
Okay,
it's in there. You can also find it by, if you just search leagues and just put above. Yeah, come up.
Perfect. We're the first one there.
Yeah. Only one that has above in the title as it stands right now.
The only other thing, I think, because we're beyond an hour now, and I think we said an hour would be fine, but the only other thing that I was going to share was Opta's latest prediction. And they are the top 10 teams. So basically saying that Brazil have almost a 65% chance of getting to the quarters, 41% to the semis, 25% to the final. Like 1 in 4 times they run this, Brazil get to the final. That's mad.
Yeah.
I
We can
think
work that out later, though, can't we? Because you just, let's say, when it's just get through 2 games. This feels nice.
it does.
Just
No,
get through
but
2
there's
games.
also, I mean, there's also like the Optimillion thing that basically you have to predict everything, which is fun.
You get a million quid.
If you predict every country in every correct position in every group, and then predict the entirety of the knockouts, yeah, you win $1 million.
Sounds easy.
Proper caveats
Easy.
around that, depending on what country you're in. I think there's a load of You can't play the fantasy game if you live in France. I think there's a bunch of weird countries that you can't play. You can't play, which is odd. But
It is.
yeah, what do you think of those? Do you think England 5th there? I think that's reasonable.
I think it's about right.
Yeah.
I think those 2 South American teams being top 2 makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The heat will probably help that as well.
The Spain and Germany thing and all them like that feels just does feel like a big lottery for me then. I agree. Cool. Well,
it's a first look. Anyway,
we're doing it.
so
We're doing it. That's what we're saying.
We're doing it.
Andy locked us in. We don't really exactly know how to play, but we think we do, and we're going to give it a go.
We're not quite even sure how the rules work, but I've got an auto pick team, so I'll have a tinker
I've got an
around.
auto pick team. Andy, you going to share any of your team?
What, do you want it now, do you?
Oh, I want a keeper. Who's your keeper?
Shall I tell you a player in each position?
Yeah.
Go on then.
Yeah. All right. I got Muslera in goal. I've got Mela in defence. I do have Musiala in midfield, and obviously I've got Messi up top. There you go. Player in each position.
You've given us absolutely nothing. You mentioned all those players earlier.
Yeah, I know. I think I've mentioned every player I do have, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody I haven't mentioned.
To be fair, every time you mentioned a player, you did say whether they were in your team as well. So
yeah. But just bear in mind that there are a lot of players that aren't in the game yet. Like I've got the Japan keeper on my bench, but I know that's not the keeper that plays for Japan in goal. So there's a lot of players that aren't in the game yet, but they will be.
On bench, just very quickly before we finish, on bench, how important do you think that's going to be?
Quite important to get forward because you can sub them in, can't you?
Oh God, yeah, of course you can.
So if your player doesn't play, or if your player blanks, you can bring another player and have another go.
Yeah, it's pointless having dead rubbers. You need players.
How many?
You just need players that play. All of them. So you
bring
need to
everyone
make
off
sure,
your bench. So if someone blanks, I can bring everyone off the bench.
But you need to make sure that your starting 11 plays early and your bench plays late.
Yeah, it's Champions League stuff.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
You had me. I was all the way in.
There was a Hungarian 4 million midfielder last year called Holes. And he, in match day 2, people brought him in and he scored a goal.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, 8 points, 9 points, he got something like that. So it does make a difference. And if you can get your subs right, it makes a difference between 20, 30 points, which in such a short tournament is massihad in leagues.
Yeah,
we're all going to do that.
I'm trying to think. In the last Champions League one, I had I had like 12 points after the Tuesday, and then on the Wednesday I finished with like 75 points for making transfers and stuff like that. Yeah, it was a bit mad. I don't think what happened. 80 points I ended up with.
Cool.
Because Zielinski got nothing, Dumfries got nothing, and Ronaldo got nothing. So I just brought a bunch of players in, and they all did stuff. So yeah,
it will feel horrible. People will have to bench like Neymar.
Yeah,
but it's because he's playing late. You'll do that every week because they'll always play late.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fun times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fun times. Well, thanks, mate.
No worries. Cheers for having me. Sorry, I feel like I've spoken a lot, so I do apologise.
No, that's what, like I said, mate. We didn't know what the game was till yesterday. Adam's been swatting up on it. He's all on it. I was like,
groups.
I was like, I don't need to. You boys will do the work. Good.
And thank you to everyone that's joined us in the chat. We've tried. I mean, there's been a few comments in there that we've mentioned as well. So,
what are you doing for Scout over the World Cup then?
So I'll be streaming every week, every match day, talking through my team, players to bring in, players to target, all that kind of stuff. Absolutely love doing it through the Euros. So can't wait to do it for the World Cup.
Excellent.
Pleasure.
Cool, man. Right. Well, thanks again to everyone in the chat, and we will speak to you later.
See you later.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.